on this beautiful autumn day. I don't know if it's just the weather that has caused just an excitement, but also I'm very, very pumped about having this couple here with us today that have so graciously decided to share their testimony. So we have Adriana and Greg Hernandez, and they are going to give us a little bit of insight into what God has done for them. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hola.
Hola.
Y para ustedes que hablan español, ya lo decidimos que a lo mejor vamos a tener partes durante este episodio que hablamos en español, porque así somos los hispanos. So, okay.
Sorry. It's pretty Tex-Mex, not no Cuban, Colombian.
No, it's good. Okay, so seguimos. Let's go.
So just tell us a little bit about y'all's story.
So, okay, it's me.
You wanted to be here.
So we met. So if you ask him, we met when we were in high school. But I'll let him tell that story on how we met. But what I remember is, so we've been. So people who don't know, we've been married several times. I've been
not to each other.
Not to each other. To other people.
We keep trying.
Not to each other.
Yeah. I didn't get it right yet. But, so it just so happened that I was going to church. I was going to another church, but I wasn't in the Word like I am now. What my season is now, where I'm very rooted now, and I feel like okay. I know where I'm at. But before, anyway, I had gotten a divorce. And so my divorce was final on a Thursday. And it just so happened to be Friday was the cook-off at the county fair.
Nice.
Yeah. So I went out with a couple of friends. Actually, I went out with another couple. So I was the third wheel. We went and just hung around, went to different, what are they called?
Tents?
Yeah. Those. We went to different tents.
Those things.
And I remember seeing him the very first time because I was in a tent and it was all Dallas Cowboy fans. And this,
I'm sorry.
No.
Right?
This guy walks in with his Steeler shirt, sunglasses, and his bald head and piercing. He had more piercings than he has now. And I'm like, look at him coming up in here with his Steeler stuff, and it's a cowboy tent. So that's the first time I saw eyes.
You're I want the controversial one.
No, I didn't want him. No, I just saw him like, anyway, that was at the beginning of the night. And then later at the end of the night, and I will have to say that I had a few drinks so I was having a good time.
You?
We're gonna get into that.
Real good.
So I just have to share. So when they whenever they came in this morning, I was like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear what you guys are talking about. And Adriana was like, we're gonna talk about drugs, sex, and alcohol. And I was like, great.
Which was like, I told Greg, that's not what we're gonna
talk about. That's not what we're gonna talk about.
Not really.
And look, I'm the first one to talk about it. But so anyway, the night went on, and I didn't see him again until the very last tent. And I was dancing with the guy. It was a Spanish song, so I was dancing with the couple that I went with. They were really good friends of mine. Mm-hmm. I was dancing with him, and he spun me. And when he spun me, he pushed me onto Greg. And he goes, here, you dance with her.
Wow.
And he caught me. Well, it just so happened Greg and George were best friends in high school. And so he knew who Greg was when he pushed me on him.
But in high school, I was also George.
Yeah.
That was a nickname.
Yeah.
For you?
Teachers didn't know how to say Gregorio, so they would say Giorgio. And, and y'all gonna teach me?
You can't say my name and you're teaching me?
Wow. Pues ahora, now that I know that, I'm gonna call you Gregorio. I love that. I don't know a Gregorio. That's beautiful. Okay, sigue.
So, anyway, he caught me, and we were about to dance, and the song was over. And I said, okay, next song.
And the DJ started talking, and then
yeah, so then we had to talk for a little
awkward
bit.
stance, looking at each other.
And then now mind you, it was a Spanish song, the first one, okay. And then the next song that came on was Apple Bottom Jeans.
Get it, girl.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
I said, we're gonna dance. He goes, to this song, and I'm like, well, it is next song.
So let me see. Apple Bottom Jeans, is this like 2011? Yeah, girl, I know what song it is.
2009.
2009?
October 2000.
Yeah,
October
she don't
16th.
remember.
October 16th,
okay.
2009.
You know, she does remember. Okay.
It's not and so. So anyway, we danced that song, and it was at the end of the night. So then they just called it and they said, everybody has to go home. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I kind of hooked up with him. Let's just, So this guy walks me to the vehicle and kisses me on my forehead and told me good night. Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. And I was like, a nice guy? Oh, I didn't want a nice guy that night, but that's what I got. And so I think, when I think about it, that has to be,
it was a blessing.
Yes, it is a blessing because now look, we're going on.
Let me see.
11.
Let me see. Hang on, let me take my shoes off.
It's like our granddaughter, our oldest one, she's 15. Well, she's going to be 15 this month. And that's how I know how many years we've been together, however old she is, because she was only 6 weeks when we got together.
Wow.
And but then we got married in 2013. Yes. See,
I want to go back to something that you just said because it's very interesting that you said that. So you had just signed the divorce on Thursday, and that Friday you just so happened to go out, and in your mind. You just said it, and I don't know if it was because it was trying to be funny, but you said in that moment when Greg kissed me on my forehead, I didn't want the nice guy. Mm-mm. So if you were to talk to someone that has just gone through a really hard relationship, maybe even a broken marriage, and in that moment, in that instant, if you could go back and tell yourself, what would be something that you would tell yourself in that moment, like knowing what you know now? Like, how could you minister to that moment? Because you were like, I didn't want the nice guy.
Yeah. So, I was broken and lost, and I felt like, okay, I needed a replacement right away for the most part. And it's like, just wait. And I didn't realize, because I wasn't looking. Yes, but no. I wasn't looking for anything serious because I just got out of something serious. But, yeah, when he did that, I was like, wow, there are. You just, and I want to say, maybe you're not looking in the right places, but at the county fair,
that wasn't necessarily the right place.
It's not, you don't think that, but yeah, there are still wonderful men, and it's just, now when I think about it, it's like, wow. God had a part in all of this.
And you weren't even looking for him. You weren't even looking for God necessarily. You weren't serving God.
I knew who he was, but I wasn't serving him as I am now. But when I look back, when I step back and I look at it, it's like, wow, he's had his hands on us in so many seasons that it's just like, wow, why would we not want to serve him? Can you imagine what the rest of our seasons are going to look like?
There's 2 points I think are real critical in there. One, the Lord's been working on me a lot. And it's came up in probably the last 6 sermons that I've listened to. And it talks about when you fully understand what God did for you, you realize it's your reasonable service to serve him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? And I glossed over that for years. Like, I just read it and I was just like, that's kind of an odd choice, right? But in the season of life we're in right now, and in talking with people, when it's exactly what you're saying, when you realize and you see looking back that he was always there, even when you don't see him in the moment, because I didn't see him then, right? Mm-hmm. It's like he's still here whether I see him or not, or I feel him or not. He's still moving through it. So it's about the obedience, and it's the reasonable service to serve him, right? Because it makes it easier when it's not glamorous, when there's not results, when there's not what you think it's going to be, right?
Even when you're perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
What we want.
Perfect, yeah.
And the other one that I thought that I've seen a lot in men's group and in the other ones as well is, and I think it was critical, you just said it too, is what I needed to do was wait, but I didn't want to. And in our culture today, everything's instant gratification. Mm-hmm. And if we're waiting, and I struggle with this personally as well in my career and in our personal life and and in my walk, I struggled to be content with and present wherever I'm at, because I feel like I've been programmed to constantly improve, right?
Or just to look forward to the next thing.
Look to the next thing. But that's not how Christ moved.
No. It's not our timing. It's his. No. It's never our timing.
And there's so much frustration that we bring on ourselves by trying to force a timeline, right? Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then we get frustrated with the situation when that wasn't necessarily what.
Or even like we blame it on God, and it's like,
Right.
why didn't you move? Why didn't that happen? Like, I mean, and we'll share something later, but okay, so
Yeah.
continue next. So fast forward 2 years,
Oh, fast forward 2
2
years.
years.
or maybe a year.
Oh, so we were
Well, yeah,
we were
moved in.
yeah, we moved in together.
Yeah.
So
And she had a
but
spoiled
not
brat
like
kid.
the next month, but so we dated each other and we were going back and forth because I was going to a church in Lake Jackson and he was going to a church, his Catholic church, and so I still had our youngest living with us, and on the weekends when she wasn't with us, we would go to the Catholic church, and then
Actually, I would go to both, but you would join me at the Catholic church.
Right,
At the-
and so back and
at the
forth.
church always Sunday.
So whenever Elise was with us, we would always go to the church that she and I were plugged into. And so we did that for a while, and then he felt more comfortable and more accepted at the church that Elise and I were going to, and so we just started there. And then we just plugged in there. We did, even though we were going to church,
And cohabitating.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. It was like, oh no, let me back up because we went to the Puerto Rican festival. That was our first official date.
Oh, I want to go to a Puerto
I
Rican
forgot
festival.
about that.
It's not as awesome as it used to be. No, I'm not saying that because they moved to a smaller venue and it's just like, yeah.
It's not
this
exciting.
Time, this time to this time. You know?
Yeah, so I
think
wanted
it
to
was
do
like
that.
from noon till 6 or something.
Because I want to add it because it's such a great part of our story. I love this part of the story. So we met each other that night. We probably we talked on the phone, but we didn't go out on another date until the Puerto Rican festival was coming up, which was the next month, and we
The
went.
next weekend.
And we
It was
went.
the next weekend, yeah.
It was.
The 21st.
Let's see, I don't remember that date, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Awesome memory. It was imprinted in his brain.
Oh no,
Yes.
he can't remember what I was wearing and everything. I'm like, I just remember you didn't have no hair.
Thanks.
That was easy.
Right.
So we went. Anyway, we enjoyed the Puerto Rican festival, and then probably maybe 6-7 months later, we decided to move in. Or
Yeah,
you just
right about, yeah.
because I had a place, and so he just moved in with me because he was in an apartment, I was in a condo, so it was like okay. And so we did that, and still continued going to church, and
So do you feel comfortable talking about that? Like, was there any conflict, or I guess my question is, we know that that's not ideal.
no.
Like, knowing that now, we know
Yeah.
that that's
Yes.
not ideal. But are there any aspects of it that you could speak to of why? I know that that's the norm. Everybody now, I mean, I had some very close friends that even said, they came to me and they were like, should we consider living together before we get married? And I'm like, absolutely not. But in my mind, that's because that's what I've always been told. Have I ever lived it? Do I know, like, you can save money on taxes? I mean, like, all this stuff that society, that what I guess Sunny says, the world recommends and what the world will tell you. But we know that that's not what God says. Can you speak into maybe one or two aspects of why, like, having done it and having lived it, why would that not work? Or why can you see now as a believer being rooted where you are, why does that just not work? Or why do you not recommend that?
Emma, is it me or you? Are you gonna talk?
No, I'm just here to look pretty.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Gregorio, I love it. It's wonderful.
So
Smile and nod.
yeah.
See,
I want to hear both. I want to hear both. So you pick one and you pick the other. So two things.
Okay, so now where we are now,
Mm-hmm.
it's. I mean, when we look back at it, we always look back and it's like if we could change things, we would, because we have adult children and they were dating individuals, and when they would come to our house to stay, and they weren't married, we didn't allow them to stay in the same room. They could stay under the same roof, but they couldn't
Yeah.
share the same room. And they didn't understand that because it's like why not?
Hypocritical.
Yeah, we live together. Why can't we? And
well,
it's
actually,
like,
it was
what
more
we-
after. That was after we had already gotten married, because at least
Right.
had already graduated, and she was already in the Navy.
Right, but I'm just saying how we.
Oh,
if I'm looking
back.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He said not. That's all you do.
No, hombre, he is gonna talk. You are gonna say. I do want to hear his aspect of it.
So I mean, looking back at it that way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's like, how could we? It was hard because we would say no, you couldn't do it. However, yet we did it. But it's like, well, we weren't in our spiritual walk the way we are now. We weren't solid.
Mm-hmm.
We knew the Lord, but we weren't following the Lord. And so then we were trying to, as adult children, because everybody, she was the baby and she was already an adult. So as adult children, we're trying to, okay, how you always, you hear, do as I say,
Don't
not
do
as
as
I
I
do. Yeah, and so it was hard. It's like, how can I make them understand that? And it's just, well, this is why. And, we weren't where we were, we're not where we were now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we feel like we can speak to you, so that way you have the opportunity to raise your children in the right spiritual way. And out of the 6 kids we have, we're still working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a process. It's not
Yeah.
overnight. And then, Greg,
Yes.
will you speak to that too?
Yeah, I don't understand. Why we listen to the world, but everybody falls in that aspect. But when we read the book and everything, and it's just like, you got to walk the right way, and we try to teach that to our children, and they're like, well, you didn't. I said, no, we didn't, but it was the past, and we're still. We're learning, and they don't look at us like we're hypocrites. They try to see our view now. Yeah, we did it in the past. I had problems with alcohol. My kids saw infidelity. My kids saw alcoholism. My kids saw drugs, drug use. And they were like, well, you were like that, but now you're like this, which is, they enjoyed this much better than the other way, even though I smiled a lot when I was on the other drugs, but, and,
Wow.
But, they understand, we're living for God, but we're still chiseling away at them and stuff, and they understand that, but
we always want best for our children.
Yeah.
It's like, we know now, so it's like, we want them to follow the same Lord we do, because we know, if they don't, what's waiting for them.
Right.
The world.
I think it's a good point to expand on and sit for maybe a second. When you made the comment too, we don't know why we listen to the world, right?
Yeah.
But think about back at the barbecue tent.
Mm-hmm.
You both knew the Lord, but you didn't know the Lord.
You knew
Right.
of him.
Right.
Of him,
Like
yeah.
you knew him, like you knew of him, but you didn't know him, right?
Yeah.
And our desire is exactly, I think there's if you want to call it a microcosm, there's an example in there in their response, right? Well, you didn't.
No.
So what are they doing? They're rationalizing their behavior based off the people around them, right? And so human nature, and Megan and I were talking about this yesterday, human nature is to want to feel like you fit in and not be, it's weird because we preach like we want to be individuals, but we really don't.
Yeah.
We want to kind of be normal. Well, what is normal? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because people don't want to get made fun of because they don't want to be so unique that it's seen abnormal, but they want to be special, but they don't want to be, it's like we don't know, if you really boil down what we say, we don't even know what we want because we don't know our identity unless we have it rooted in Christ.
But that's part of...
It's more fun this way, it's easier, but this way is, you got to walk a little different, very narrow.
I love that you're... Okay, can talk about that, because you've been able to see both sides. What is it about the world side that makes this side so hard?
The world side is easy, because you just go and do what you want.
Say that again?
The world side is easy because you just go and do what you want.
You mean
And
when
you
you're a
understand.
Christian, like you can't do what you want?
No, you can do what you want, but you got to watch what you want and what you do.
And you do that by the transforming of the mind, right?
Right.
Holding
Exactly,
everything
yeah.
up to the Word and see what's good and faithful and worthy and praiseworthy.
Yeah.
But with this, I can honestly say I have more peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's a peace that passes all understanding.
And joy,
Yes.
true joy.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
joy, but what we don't understand, especially in today's society, is the difference between joy and happiness.
Mm.
And we chase happiness because I would substitute the easy for happy, right? It makes us happy in the moment,
Moment.
right?
In the moment.
But joy, you can't take joy away. You could take my happiness away, but you can't take my joy because it's not something that I have to give that to you, right?
Yeah.
And when we understand to operate out of joy instead of happiness, it's longer term. And I think about sports. Nobody enjoys the 2-a-days or the 3-a-days and the waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go do all that stuff, but everybody enjoys winning a game.
Right.
But it's all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's easier and it's happier to sleep in and then go eat my taco and then just go to school, right?
We can stop at sleeping. I'm good.
But then when you got to get up and you got to go run and it's raining and it's muddy and now you're throwing weights around and now you're pushing fat people around, like it's just, it's not fun, right?
Yeah.
But they enjoy the outcome, and it's similar in our walk. If we truly understood the totality of the decisions, we would understand it's our reasonable service to give him our life because we realize he's already paid for it.
Right.
And he's the only thing that's actually worthy of serving because everything else is fleeting.
Right.
I think it's a matter, too, of just understanding the difference between something eternal and something that's going to burn. So, I mean, when you talked to, and I like that you brought it up, there's a difference between happiness and joy. It's funny that the expression is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Why is it a constant pursuit? Because it's never fulfilling.
Right.
And they never said it's a pursuit of joy. Why? Because joy is a fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit is eternal.
Right.
And I mean, those are things that you can only get from the Word. I mean, that's why it's not just about, and I loved, Adriana, that you said, I wasn't in the Word and I wasn't grounded and rooted like I am now. It's not just about being part of a community in a church. It's not just about choosing to go every Sunday and taking your kids every Sunday. It's not just about plugging in. Are those all good things? Oh my goodness, yes. But it's about seeking Him and seeking first His kingdom, and everything else will be added unto you, right?
Right.
And I would love for you guys to share just kind of how that process of how you went from, okay, we're dating, we're cohabitating, we're taking our kids to church, and now we're getting married. And then when did, I guess, the Lord's floodgates just begin to open in your life, and how'd you see that transformation?
COVID.
Okay.
COVID. I mean, that's when I'm sure a lot of things happened because, like the rest of the world, everything closed down, and we were very involved. We were leaders in the youth group at the other church that we were.
No, this was after you were married.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so y'all got
Yeah.
married what year?
13.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
Whoops. Drop my cup. I'll grab it.
It's okay.
And so.
2013.
COVID's when
COVID, 2013.
COVID. I'm like, gosh, and my memory is not the same any longer. But
No,
anyway,
you're good.
it's because I'm an AARP member. Thank you. Everything closed down, so we weren't plugged into church any longer. I mean, we could see it online, but obviously it's not the same. I mean, being in His house with other believers and feeling the Spirit is just amazing. And so I wasn't receiving that, and I told him, I was like, hey, I need to be fed because I don't like not going to church. I want to be fed. And so in October of 2020, Life Foursquare, I
Right
looked at
before the
my...
girls were born.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly when the girls were born. Man, Greg!
Because we remember seeing you on stage. I'm like, oh, well, she's
I was
going
like,
to
whoa,
have...
she's gonna bust here in a second.
Oh man, I felt like it. That's for sure.
Starts singing
Wow.
Oceans, and then she pops out a baby.
I didn't. No, we stopped singing Oceans. I was probably singing "The Joy of the Lord Is My Strength."
So yeah, we went on a Wednesday, and the other church that we were going to, we had Wednesday meals as well, but you paid for your meals. Over here when we came, he was like, well, where do we pay? And
I went up to
Was it Sonny or Bob?
Bob. I said,
Bob was probably like right here.
I know.
Yeah, Bob. I said, so what do we pay her? What? He gave that gracious look.
That Bob look.
Gracious look. The gracious Bob look.
Yeah. And we all love
And,
Bob.
Ah, yes.
And he said, no, it's paid for. You know, like, oh.
And
cool.
and the message, now I can't tell you what the message was, but it was a great message. I'm like, I really like this. Can we try it Sunday? And we did, and never went back. And
No, we went back to
We never stopped.
life. We went to life, but not our other church.
yes, yes.
Yes, I got you.
We went
Okay.
back
Stayed
to
at
Life 4 Square, yes. And I mean, if everybody knows my social butterfly, he takes photos.
Just because I'm shy.
That's the only reason why we have documentation at Life Foursquare is because Greg takes pictures of everybody.
So he would do that same thing at the other church we were going to. So he started it at Life Foursquare, and he posted one picture. No, it was Mac that posted the picture, and I told Mac no, because I didn't want anybody to know, because we didn't know if that's where we were going to be rooted.
Yeah.
And so he posted it, and someone from the other church says, "Those aren't our pews." I'm like, now we can't go back. But
Oh my goodness.
that wasn't it. No, I mean we haven't left, because we were trying to find a new one, because the other one was in like Jackson. We live here in Angleton, so it's like, okay, we'll try it, and it's tried it again, and we never left, and we have grown so much here.
Both of you
Yes.
serve.
Yes, and our old church, I was, like she said, I was raised at a different church, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why
The
we were
message.
sitting, kneeling, standing, kneeling. What did that have to do with anything of this word?
Right.
And some of the scripture, it was still from the Old Testament, but I didn't understand it because they spoke different. But I wanted to know God, because before I was going to church just because in high school, because I was told that we got to go to church.
Yeah.
I was hungover, after football games or after, parties and whatnot, and I didn't want to go. And then I started going, and I was like, well, I still understand. But then we went to the church that she was attending, and everybody was just like coming up to me, welcoming. It was very welcoming, because the church I was going to with my mom, it was, I would try to say hi, because I would like to talk to people.
Very social.
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 You're very reserved.
Yes.
At the same time.
And I would make eye contact with people to say hi, and they were just like, and just keep
But he
look at
looked,
me.
he
And I was
looked
like-
a whole lot different too, because he did have
my
several
goatee
pierced.
was a little longer. I had a few piercings, 3 on this one, 2 on this one, but I looked a lot different, and wore shades because I was in the dark about being in the light.
Yeah.
And that's something that changed at this church as well. You can see my eyes now, and I've had people come up to me and say, "I can see your eyes." I'm like, "Yeah, found the light."
They're beautiful, aren't they?
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful blue eyes.
He always said they were blue eyes.
But no, went to the church she was attending, and he made it for dummies.
Yeah.
He spoke. He was from.
You're not a dummy.
What just
He made
He's
it
breaking
so you
down
can
words
understand
for
it.
easy-
broke it
easier,
down,
more
yes,
relatable.
easier, yeah. And the stories he would tell and the lessons were simple, and I was getting it, and then COVID happened, and before that we had already plateaued. Like I wasn't learning anything. I was we had in a couple of plays. Have you heard Heaven's Gate?
Yes,
House Flames? Yes, I was in
yes.
a couple of those. Because I was still trying to learn and understand the Book of Life, because I wanted to be in that Book of Life.
Same. Same.
And but yeah, we had plateaued. At the youth group, it was more babysitting than trying to help them learn.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble a few times for it. But anyways.
Rule breaker.
I mean, it is harder.
It was like,
Because we
settle
were,
down, listen,
yeah, so because we weren't as strong as we are now, so we were having to pay attention to them and not listening to what the youth pastor was, and so we wanted more too. So I think that when we came over to 4 Life Square, we are involved. We're involved in the greeting in the morning. Yes.
Life Four Square.
Yeah.
Oh, Life Four Square.
4 Life Square. It's okay. You are four square.
4 Square.
Yes.
And
But where do you both serve now at Life?
in the nursery.
Yeah.
Because he likes to
My nap
sleep.
time.
He has a sleeping buddy. He rocks the babies to sleep. So we do nursery and pre-K. We have the twins.
And she has the twins. She gets to talk to the twins.
And every time they see me, hi teacher, and it's like, oh, they know me. They don't know my name, but they know me.
Well, they know who you are because I told them who's coming this morning, and they're like, "That's my teacher," so they know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and they love you.
Yeah, because they will come on and just hang on his leg.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that we're in the babies. So that's where we want to start because we enjoy that. It feels like we're still being fed and we're getting more out of it instead of having to like, oh hey, y'all aren't supposed to be sitting that close, or hey, pay attention, or hey.
So what would you okay, so you're now in the church, you've been serving faithfully, you've been attending faithfully for 4 years. What would you tell a couple that's at that stagnant? What would you tell them that if a couple is in this place where they're not feeling fed, they're not feeling like they're apart, they're kind of feeling distant, what would you tell them and encourage them? Obviously, yes, we'd love to have you come to Life, but
yes,
what do you need to do? What do you encourage them to do on their own? How to seek out the Lord, knowing what you know now?
Maybe just make a
visit.
shift. Yeah.
Visit different churches. Visit where
or where you're at, where you're planted, but maybe switch to another department just to grow. Because there's going to be
or volunteer.
There's
Step
leaders
in to
there
volunteer.
too that you make a connection with, and we have so many friends now. We've always had friends, but
we didn't have friends.
Let me clarify. We have no friends.
No.
we had two. But
We have macaroni.
Hi. Yeah. And did he come with y'all?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, macaroni.
Wow. Okay.
A few others did as well.
That's really sweet.
yeah, so
Just seek it within your church first. Seek there. Like I said, volunteer. Do things outside of the box.
more than just on a Sunday.
Than just go on Sunday and Wednesday and
that's it.
go in and go out.
Like
Even fellowship.
Yes.
Fellowship with other people, with people you don't even know within your church. Because that's what I kind of do on Wednesdays, because everybody's in their
Their pods.
in their pods, and I just walk around and say hi and see how everybody. I go to the people I know to say hi, but if I make eye contact.
When he
was
gets
in the
this-
coffee.
I'm telling you this flavor, but I don't know.
But no, just say hi and see how they're doing, how their day went, or how their year's going, and just.
We were
move
told
forward.
last night that we're includers. We always want to make people
Mhm.
happy, and we're includers.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time I took a selfie with a lady and her sister, maybe, I don't know. Do you know them? No.
No, but I just want
They're
them to feel
lifers.
included.
And I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen them here.
Oh, I love that you
know,
said that. They're lifers. That's what we call each other. So just so you know, we're lifers. That's what we do. That's what Siri calls. So I want to take a few steps back just for a moment because I want to hit on this, and I think this is a huge testimony of where God's brought you from. At what point did you start to realize, Greg, that the alcohol, the drugs, that lifestyle, it just wasn't enough? It wasn't, and it was going to be just a continuous cycle.
The alcohol was in my second marriage when I said that's enough. I wanted to try to save that marriage, and
But that was something that you
it
felt.
was- yes, yeah. Actually, there was a light because I had started at noon on a Saturday, drank a fifth of Jack and a liter of Jim Beam. I didn't share too well because they were mine. But yeah, at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, whatever time it was, I was yelled at by my ex and just told her I was no good and this, that, and the other. So we closed down the bar, and I was told to walk home, but it was about 2 miles to the house. And I proceeded, and yeah, I think I almost got sideswiped by a few cars because I was walking in the road or too close to the side of the sidewalk, or if there was a sidewalk. It felt like a sidewalk. It was hard ground. But yeah, I was very blinded by the alcohol. So I quit drinking. And then a couple of years later, I was like, all right, this ain't working out. Actually, a year later, 2000, I started smoking weed. And it was momentarily, I was happy at
that moment.
At that moment.
Yep.
And marriage was still not too well. And I was going out on jobs, outside of, out of town jobs and stuff, and still not in the Lord. And he saved me a few times as well from that. Cop pulls me over. I'm like, you got some stuff here. And like Siri said, come on, Lord, I'll follow you if you help me out of this one. And he did. But
we're great negotiators when we're up against the wall.
Overall. But
I heard that
like 2 weeks later, I'm back my ways, and stuff. And even with my ex, we'd go to San Antonio a lot to the Spurs games, and we'd get smashed, and I wake up in the morning and say, "Ooh, you drove pretty good last night." It's like, no, I think you drove. Like, I didn't remember driving. She's like, yeah. I'm like, well.
And you're here.
Yeah. And still here.
You're
able
here.
to talk about it. And he had his hands on me then, which was awesome.
He's always had his hands.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When we look back, we see his hand through all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And what's interesting, too, though, is you're the third or fourth person that came on that almost has that exact same story with alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate to use this term, but it's almost like a cruel mistress. Like it'll consume so much of your life.
They're called spirits for a reason, because there's a whole different spirit within you.
And,
Can you, since you lived it, I wanna hear his aspect on it. Like when it's so deceiving. It's very deceiving, and it's something that it's taken so many marriages that I've seen. It has literally devoured and consumed marriages from close friends of mine. Yeah. And it's innocent. It seems innocent at first. It starts with the social.
Like fun.
Seems like fun. Yeah. It starts with the whole social thing, and people say that they can control it, but I have such a conviction against it.
Yeah.
So since you lived it, I didn't struggle with alcohol. I drank, and then once we became, lifers, that's something that you immediately have to hand over. Mm-hmm. Meaning you're a believer now. Like your life is no longer your own. You submit it to the Lord, and that's part of it. Why? Because it is. We're called to be of sober mind, but it's like you said, it's a deceitful mistress. So since you lived that, like if you could see a friend right now. I want you to picture a friend that may be struggling with that. Mm-hmm. And from the deepest sense of who you are now, I want you to speak into them.
I say put it down. It's not as real as it seems, because the reality is that you're just masking what hurts. It's fun for the moment, but you're not going to get anything out of it. Just a hangover and go have menudo for the cure, and that's not good. Because if both of them drink, if both of y'all are drinking, y'all are happy together. But then sometimes that wrong spirit gets within you, and then why are you looking at him like that? Why are you looking at her? It's.
So many emotions.
Your emotions are just all over the place, and if you're not right with God, like Siri says, if you're not right with this, you're going looking here, you're looking there, to try to be happy, it's going to be fun for just this little while, and she won't know about it, or he won't know about it. I'm going to go and hide and do this, but the alcohol, it fogs your mind. The weed fogs your mind, you know. Not to say, I'd say a fun part, because when I used to smoke weed, I would get out of work, go smoke half a joint or whatever, and take off running for 5 miles. Do 5 miles. I would weigh 190 pounds while I was smoking weed. Which is different, which was way different for most people. But leaving alcohol was easier, even though I wasn't searching for God at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was, because I wanted to quit and find a better path.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I didn't know at the time, which I'm 25 years sober.
Wow.
Right now, so.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
And then clean, I guess I would say 10, 15.
Wow.
Something like that. Because I had quit right before
we
we
got
met.
together, yeah.
Yeah, I said, okay, God, I'm putting this down. I'm getting away from it. I want something else.
Now, when y'all met, like when you actually met, where you said you both knew who he was, but neither one of you were really pursuing him. Didn't? Oh, okay.
No, I'm laughing. Go ahead. What were you?
No, I was just asking, like, when did y'all decide, like, hey, let's do this? Like, let's really and what does that mean? Let's pursue
Christ,
the Lord. Yes.
Well, actually, because we were at the church she was attending
Mm-hmm.
at that church, and I was like, I'm understanding it better. Let's, move forward with the Christ walk, and
We got married.
yeah, we got married, and
He proposed at the Puerto Rican festival.
That's why it was your favorite.
It was our first.
That was your first official date.
And
first
then
official date. Yeah.
Well, you didn't share that. You were like, "This is my favorite part of our story," but that's why, because
Yeah. It was like 3 years later. 4 years later.
On
Because we got-
September
we got-
15th, and it was a cloudy day.
it was really sunshiny. And
With a bunch of
Telemundo
Spanish
was
speakers.
Telemundo was actually interviewing him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in our stool or our chairs, and he was telling her why we like to come. We like the music. We like we love to dance. I love to dance. I could be on the dance floor all day if
Can you still dance without drinking?
I don't drink.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because I love dancing too. That's part of our culture.
I wasn't a big fan. I have before. I'm not saying I never have, but I don't need it. And I love to dance. So when
Yeah.
we went to a five-year-old's birthday party last Saturday, and we danced.
You danced, Mira. See?
But,
And then I had my boots on. I was always sticking to the floor with my sneakers. My brakes were on.
Oh, my brain.
But yeah.
So yeah, and we were there. They were interviewing him, asking him that, and he's like, "And if you'll allow me, I have a question for her." And then he got up and
On Telemundo?
On
Telemundo,
If
yes.
that's not any more romantic
I
than
know.
a.
I
Oh.
was like, oh. And then Elise was with us, and she was crying, and so and then we got married a week later.
Yeah.
Because he worked with a gentleman who was a pastor, and out of all of the marriages that we've had, that was the first time we've been married in a church. 'Cause
Wow.
all the others were JPs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's our first.
JPs.
Yeah.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but both of you said that you came from several marriages. Was it just a matter of how was that? Was it like a Band-Aid covering another wound, or how do you describe that?
So my first one, you mean like how we got there?
Yeah.
So my
I guess, if you're
first one,
comfortable.
I was in high school, and so I got pregnant in high school, and so I married him.
Okay.
And he went into the military, and he went off. The second one, it was a couple of.
He went off. He
He was off to.
He just left.
He went to go hike.
He went.
Yeah.
He
took a
went to
hike.
hike. He went to hike. No, he didn't. And so anyway, and then the next one, I was married for almost 10 years there, and it wasn't a solid It was very hard. It was abusive.
Okay.
And so I had finally, after almost 10 years, I was like, I had 2 children already. Well, I had Joey already, and then 2 more, and it was hard. And I was like, that's enough. I can't continue, because it's one thing, when it's just pointed directly at me, but if it
affects your
turns,
kids.
yes, it affects them. So it's like, okay, I'm out. And the third one was like a rebound, but it happens. And so I guess when you were asking me, Why are you laughing?
I don't know why you looked at me. Rebound.
You're not. Well, he was gonna be, no, he was just gonna be fun for the night. But
look at what God's done.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. He was just.
I can't with y'all.
So,
I can't.
But yeah, I mean, that's just. I wasn't. I mean, obviously, I wasn't where I am now. Back then, but.
Was there a part of you, because I know you've heard the scripture, and this has always been a question that I've always wanted to ask someone that's been divorced. Has there ever been a part of you, and people may struggle with it, maybe even if they're in a hard marriage right now, and they've maybe contemplated that. Have you ever struggled with how God hates divorce?
Yes. And I even asked someone once, and what they spoke to me was, yes, but he doesn't want you to be being physically hurt, emotionally hurt either. Mm-hmm. So either seek, help so that everybody's fine, or you just, that was the words that were used to me, and I was like, and we tried, but he.
No, that's great. I mean, that's great, because I know that sometimes that's the only option.
It is hard, yeah. Yeah, because the Lord doesn't want his children to be hurt. He wants us to be happy, and it's like if this individual is hurting you, then you need to step out.
Have you ever felt, because we know that anything, and we learned this, I guess last Wednesday, or 2 Wednesdays ago, anything that draws you closer to the Lord is conviction. Anything that pushes you away from the Lord is condemnation. So my question to you is, have you, in your walk, have you ever felt condemnation, and how did you overcome that, knowing what you know now?
Because what I know now.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how I overcome, because of what I know. Because what is in this.
Right.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Mine was about the same. First marriage, she got pregnant. She was in high school. I just graduated technical school. And yeah, we had like back-to-back children, one in 87, one in 88, and then the other one in 90. And but yeah, it was not a strong marriage. It was, whoops, I got you pregnant, let's get married, let's make this work, And no church at all. There was, after I graduated, there was no church at all until we met more. And I would drink a lot. I would come home from work. I'd come home from work and, my kids were babies, and they would see me I had a quarter beer on the ride home, because that was what I was raised with, My dad did it, and just to mellow out. Like, Siri explains it as just, standing at your front door and just shaking the day off and then walking in and enjoying your happy place with your spouse and children, which I had no happy place at home. I would come home, my kids were hungry. I would have to cook for them, wipe with the wash, stay with them all day. I took care of them all day and stuff. And then, but later on, I found out otherwise, other things. But it's over. And I would cook for them and get them fed and stuff. And then I would go outside. A couple of buddies would stop by and drink 3 beers and stuff. And same thing every day, And there was times that I'd get accused of, what, it took you 25 minutes to get home, it takes me 20. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I get out of work right at traffic time, because I was in Corpus, and driving from Corpus to Odom, which is 25 minutes away from each other, and I just wasn't trusted. I didn't trust her. That trust issue was always a problem.
Do you think that could have come from, because you had mentioned spirits that were attached to alcohol, and Siri's mentioned too, where there's envy and strife, there's every evil work. Do you think it would have been different? I'm just asking because no, we're not going to change the past, but speaking into someone's life right now that may be living that.
Well, it was, what am I saying? It was hard because the children, and like I said, the trust was harder there because there was always her boyfriend from high school that was always around, you know, and it wasn't healthy. And my kids were everything, you know, because that's the way my parents raised me. Hey, your kids got to be first, you know, and I wanted her to see that as well. But it just wasn't like that. I enjoyed my kids. And she left, then she took the kids, and I did my thing, she did hers, you know, and I didn't see my kids like I was supposed to. And I always said I was not a good dad, you know, but so therefore I drank more. You know, I didn't say, okay, stop and go check on the kids.
But you were
go
hurt.
look at, yeah. And, you know, for the kids, seeing all this, you know, I'm glad that they came out the way they did. My son didn't drink. I started at 13 drinking. My son didn't start drinking 17, 18, maybe 19. And, which I was proud of because, I mean,
You
I'm
started
like, man,
early.
yeah, I started early and I was 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, you know, drinking, and how I got home again, his hands, you know. And but my daughters, they don't drink much, you know, or at all, really. I don't think
they do.
Yeah, and they enjoy life without it, but I would like to bring them to enjoy life with the walk, with the light.
How's your relationship with them now?
They don't like me. No, I'm lying.
Like, come on.
No, we have a strong relationship where they're
With all
always
of
there
them.
with all of them.
Even with
And
mine.
we got 13 grandkids.
Yes.
So yeah, we stay a little busy.
Yeah.
Not as busy with them as I would like to, as we would like to, should I say? Because I don't know. I just like to come home and enjoy our alone time and enjoy some scripture as well. And but being part of a strong Hispanic family, you know, it's about the family, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do with them. And because I enjoy cooking, and they're always saying, "What you gonna cook?"
Yes, he
Could you
does. Oh
please-
my goodness.
could
I'm just
you
going to
please
put
do-
a plug in here for this boy's tacos. I was never the same. I was never the same.
You had the
The
meat
birria tacos.
birria.
Oh my gosh, they
My
messed me
street
up.
tacos,
And the
my street
street tacos
are
In such a good
lot.
way.
and the mac and cheese.
My mac and cheese.
And the salsa.
Yeah.
I make
But-
a mean sandwich. Unless.
And a bowl of cereal, babe.
And a bowl. I
Don't
got 4
leave that.
And a bowl of
I
cereal.
can make some cinnamon toast crunch.
with the extra
Yeah.
crunch.
And
No, that's beautiful.
and then and here's another one for being upset with the Lord, angry, should I say? My father passed at 51. I wasn't ready. I wasn't here. And yep, I cussed up a storm. I was upset because that was my drinking buddy as well as, you know, my dad. You know, I would go to him and a lot of stuff would be off my chest. And actually I was talking to him on the phone when it happened. And we lived in the same apartment complex, but we were talking about my son, and my ex was gonna let me raise him from that point to on, you know, as long as I could, you know, handle it. And he was gonna help me, and he was gonna stand by my side. He was gonna walk with me to raise my son. And we were talking, and he said, I don't feel good. I'm like, oh, mom's cooking didn't do well with him. But my mom was a great cook.
Yes.
But I didn't know.
You weren't ready.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, and he said, I don't feel good. And then that was it. I was like, Dad, what's going on? I was like, well, he went to the restroom right quick, so. And I waited, and then all I hear is my mom screaming, honey, what's wrong? What's going on? What happened? He had collapsed. So she picked up the phone. She said, Georgie, Georgie, something happened to your dad. Get over here. So I took off running, and I had my work boots on, so it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
With the work boots, and I ran over there, and he was laying on the floor. So I started CPR the best I could. I wish I would have listened in health class a little more. So don't take CPR classes, but
And listen,
yes. But I mean, I just kept on and kept on, and I felt his arm go between my legs, and grab my back of my leg, and I was like, all right, Dad, you're back, you're good, you're okay. But no, he wasn't. He was already gone. I guess it was just a muscle reaction. We went to the hospital, and they told us he was gone. 51 years old. And we weren't ready. But I kept on getting upset with God, kept on yelling and screaming and drinking. Had a fling with a different drug, and it took me your money. It takes your money. Don't do that one.
Don't do any.
Don't do that.
Don't do any of them,
Don't
actually.
do any of them.
But him missing from my life for 26 years now, it put a lot of things in different perspectives. Try to be the right dad, but I was this way. Try to be the right person to help others, but I was this way. But now, with Christ, I mean, I'm more open with everybody. I try to be an open book. I try to help. I try to be, a strong person, the way my dad would have liked for me to be. And I try to be there for my son
And you are.
and kids.
You are. And when we got together, he still struggled with the being angry at God because of his father passed away. That's
So
the only
young.
thing, that really I felt like he was still angry regarding the Lord, but we both have changed so much. Like when we met, he always hid behind his sunglasses.
No.
I mean, like it could be, like I said, at the fair. It's nighttime, and he has sunglasses on. I'm like, why do you have sunglasses on in the night?
Wow.
And that's how he rode the whole time. And probably the last, 3 years? They just getting lighter and lighter and lighter.
Now there's just progress. That when you get outside,
Progressive?
it gets dark. But and I didn't want anybody to see. You can see. They say you can see people's soul through their eyes and stuff, and I'm like, nah, you ain't looking in here, bro. It's not for you, And now, I mean, like I said, I want to come forward and come out to say that there's everything, in this book here that you need to know, that Christ is always there. He's not going to leave you.
Right.
The things that each and every one of us go through,
Never has.
He's right there. Just turn around, and He'll walk with you.
Do you have a scripture to leave with, like any kind of scripture that may have changed your life, or a passage that is a testament to like what God's done for you that you want to share?
It's what is it, Psalms 21. Actually, it's the one that when we went to Promise Keepers, James told us to memorize it. But yeah, I'm not a memorizer.
That's what Adriana said when she started D group, and now she's got it memorized. So
She's good at it. She's
don't
gotten so much
tell
better.
me that.
Thank
That's exactly
Thank
what
y'all
she
for
said.
that.
She
I mean-
said, I don't memorize scripture, and she didn't for the first two, and then now she's like,
Yeah.
like Mira.
Because
Yeah.
I'm singing it. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's Psalms 121, no,
Sure.
1 through 8, and it's a God the help of those who seek Him. And it's I will lift my eyes to the hills, from whence help comes. Whence my help come? When it comes my help
from.
now, I'm really. Do you see this? Where I'm shy.
I know.
My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your feet to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade. See, you don't need shades anymore. He's your shade. You know, shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from evil, from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve our goings out, our coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. You know, I mean, He covers you with His light that needs to be in your heart. You know, and
He's always there. That's
try
what I
to
tell
walk.
the kids. He's always there. He's always there. He never leaves you. He's never going to leave you. I mean, you can turn. He's to your right. He's to your left. He's in front of you. He's behind you. He has you covered.
No, just to hear y'all's story, and y'all are still here.
Mm-hmm.
You're still standing, but not only standing, but you're leading your kids in that way. So I know that your story wasn't easy to share. I know that it's very difficult to have to look back and see, but I think people need to understand the depth of why, just like Michael said, where else would we go?
Yeah.
Like your words, you know, when Peter, when Jesus asked the disciples, and who do you say I am, where are you going to go? Are you going to go too? And and Peter was like, oh, where else are we going to go?
Right.
You have the words of life.
Mhm.
And I think it's really important for people to know, like, why we believe what we believe and why it's real.
No matter what storm you're going through, you got calm seas right with Him.
That's beautiful. Well, so I want to thank y'all for sharing. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into your life. I've said this before on podcasts, but if you are seeing this episode and it really touched you and you want to reach out to Greg and Adriana, I know for a fact that they would be more than happy to.
The butterfly?
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll even take a picture with you. But if you like this episode and it just spoke to your heart, and you want to know more about, especially, you know, where each of them came from, literally brokenness and ashes into something that's thriving, alive, and producing fruit for others to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, that's something that Siri talked about. The fruit that comes from our lives isn't even for us to eat.
No.
It's not even for us to enjoy.
It's just
for,
the branches.
yeah, you're
It's
just
just the
providing it.
branches.
And it's
Plugged
for
into-
other people to take hold of.
Yes.
So to see what, and you're pouring into my babies. So that's a blessing. But you have anything else to say?
You're so pretty.
You're so pretty. Okay, well, this is the Chesed Marriage Podcast, and this is Adriana and Greg Hernandez, and we are Megan and Michael Spear. We love you, and we just pray Chesed blessings over your marriage. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Same here.
Like, I think it'll bye.